Yeah, I voted for him. Golly, what's going on? No, I'm just joking, guys. I'm not going to crash out on you. I was just playing. I'm just playing because we're playing it right. I'm short a lot of the market. We're doing things what we've been talking about on stream, guys. So I'm joking. I'm not crashing out. But we got a lot to get into. Let me turn this off. Just shout out to our stream sponsor, Blofin. I thought this was a pretty cool thumbnail. I'm not going to lie. And it's crazy. AI, I can make that in like one prompt. It's so easy, right? So efficient. But shout out to our stream sponsor, Blofin. They hit me up yesterday. They said, hey, Freeman, I see you've been trading the Qs. We added them on Blofin. So cool. So maybe I can start trading them over on Blofin, but they are our official sponsor of the Finance Freeman live stream. So without them, none of this would be possible. But most importantly, without all of you, none of this would be possible. So thank you for showing up every day at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time to see me fake crash out at the beginning of the show. What happened? Why are all the bubbles to the side? Are they falling that hard? I'm not used to that. I'm used to seeing them kind of up. Let's see who's up in here today. Good morning, legend. What's up, PT? Man, I really like that thumbnail. You got the American flag in the back. Let's see. Let's get it today, man. Get a heart attack from the dang market. Yeah, I'm curious to see how we close the day out. We're going to get into everything. So basically, I told y'all this morning on X that we had job data. Everyone on my Discord, I made sure to tell them and in the live stream yesterday that we had very important job data coming out this morning. And I thought if we had good data, the market may sell off because it thinks, oh, okay, well, we're not going to cut rates. We don't need to cut rates. On the flip side, if we had like really bad data, I thought we were going to sell off because that screams recession. And if we had mediocre data, then it might do good because that means the Fed's probably going to cut rates. But we had absolutely horrible data. If you know anything about standard deviations, this was over a 5 sigma standard deviation, which is equivalent to the move that GameStop made years ago. If you remember what GameStop did, that was over a 5 sigma deviation. And that's what it did today on the job market. So we're going to get into all of that. I'll show all y'all, but I want to say hello to people. What does this mean? Islama. Is that Islam alaikum? Is that how you spell that? I've always heard people say it. What's up, bro? Welcome. Thank you for coming, man. Thank you. I'm doing good. Markets, you got to play the markets. My big thing's learning how to play the markets when they go up and down. Not everybody has a 100% win rate, but what we can do is, try our best to look at the chart first and foremost, and then macro data for when it's going to push the chart to do what the chart was already going to do. In my opinion, a key. Bitcoin going to 50, inshallah. Yeah, maybe. We're going to get into it. Amazing. We appreciate you, man. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the absolute best. Well, let's start out over here. Bitcoin under 69K, barely 68K. Okay. So we're going to get into Bitcoin. We're going to get into stocks. We're going to get into everything. And then at the end, I've got a little gem. I think I found a gem. I made a video about it earlier that I want to share with people. But we're getting into everything in due time. Today is a Friday, right? So, what did I do? Hold on, guys. Okay, we're back. Click the wrong dang button. That's how you know I'm, not AI. Sometimes I mistype something on X, and people are like, man, you don't know how to spell. I'm like, dude, I'm not no artificial intelligence robot doing this thing. This is me, and I do have somebody that helps me all day, and he's wonderful. In fact, I need to pay him. Forgot about that. If you're listening, I got you after this. But he's absolutely wonderful. But I posted this morning, okay? That huge job report was coming out, and they had been revising some. And hold on. Before y'all talk about it, yesterday I had a cup that said world's best dad. I told y'all a couple days ago that I almost used a coffee cup that said world's best grandma, and I didn't. Well, when I went to make coffee today, I had 2 cups to choose from. And we need to pick a bone my wife about this because we should have more cups. I'm just joking. World's best grandma or this one. Okay. It's like lemons on it. What brand is this? Brewmate. So that's a pretty good brand. So it'll probably keep it hot. But so I went with this. Guys, I'm comfortable with who I am. I don't care. I can drink out of a daggum flower coffee mug. I got no care in the world. But anyways, still looking for that Nespresso sponsorship. Okay. We had a huge job report this morning, and I'm going to tie in why all this matters and why we might be screwed when it comes to rate cuts. The expectation, this is non-farm payroll. So basically, it's no farming jobs. So why does that matter? Well, farming jobs are seasonal, right? In the summer, they pick up. During wintertime, they cool down. A lot of layoffs. It's a cyclical business. And because of that, we don't include those numbers in this, right? And so this is what the expectations were. 59K jobs to be created by the economy, okay? 59K jobs, which is less than last month of 130K, right? So it's already like all the analysts, the market, everyone was expecting, hey, you know what? We might get some bad job data. We might get bad, but this is what we're expecting. So at least if it's in line with expectations, we'll be good. The numbers did not come in at 52K. They didn't come in at 32K. They didn't come in at 0. They came in at negative 92,000 jobs. And this is something that I've been saying. You know, I told y'all that I accepted a severance package at the end of last year from the company I was with for 12 years to, do my full-time investing, content, all that. Well, if you receive a severance package, for instance, like the people that got laid off with Block, for certain severance packages, you don't hit the unemployment list until that severance package is commenced. So personally, I still haven't hit the unemployment list or whatever. And so a lot of these numbers are super delayed. Just keep in mind, everything with the government super delayed. And this is no different. So we're possibly looking at layoffs just now that might have happened at the end of last year. And so that shows how much in trouble we kind of are. Okay. And so then if we take a look at it, you say, okay, well, no big deal. We've got, if the jobs are down, Freeman's been telling me that the Fed has a dual mandate. And one of those 2 mandates is for them to keep employment high. Well, that's true. That's 100% true. The problem with that is that is their number 2 mandate for the Federal Reserve. Okay. That's the number 2 mandate for the Federal Reserve. What's the number 1 mandate for the Federal Reserve? Keep prices low. Okay. Keep prices low. Well, what happens when oil is shooting through the roof? Inflation's going to go up. CPI is going to go up. So right now, the Fed's checkmated. The Fed's checkmated unless something drastically changes with what's going on over in Iran or something. Like there's no 2 ways about it. I made this post earlier. It was a clip from our stream the other day when I was talking about the price of oil. Worst case scenario for the Federal Reserve. Bad jobs and high inflation. No rate cuts. I mean, we are leaning, if we had a complete independent Fed right now and, they couldn't write it off on short-term inflation due to this attack overseas or anything, the right thing to do would probably be to raise interest rates. You want to crush that inflation, okay? And the reason the Federal Reserve cares more about inflation than unemployment is because runaway inflation destroys countries, destroys currencies, okay? Imagine if you got dropped $5 million today. You were happy, never had to work again. Invest it strategically. Don't, go out and buy, $500,000 cars, but $5 million bucks, invest it strategically. You can live all your life, your family set up, right? Well, then let's say inflation shoots up to 100%. And then within a couple years, that 5 million has the buying power of 200,000, right? And so runaway inflation destroys currencies. Look at Venezuela, look at all those countries, okay? Destroys it. Recessions are actually healthy. They reset countries, they reset economies. Now, healthy isn't always fun, right? I'm trying to get a little more healthy. I've been getting in the gym, working out. It ain't always the funnest thing, whooping your butt, but it's the healthiest thing for you, And so that's why. But this is bad because the Fed is stuck in a very, very tough situation. If we look, the odds, this is Polymarket for June 17th. The odds, you can see how sharply they dropped right here. So we went from no change to down from no change. What went up? Okay. Now odds of a decrease went up a little bit, but I'm not buying that. You can see down below, there's a 25 basis point increase chance. Like the Fed's in a checkmate right now, unless they're going to change their idea on inflation. The last CPI numbers were 2.4% from the Federal Reserve. Their target is 2%. This high oil cost is going to raise that. It wouldn't surprise me if our next numbers are 2.7 CPI. So what? Are we just going to say we're okay with 3% inflation now? That means that every year your money is worth less. The average raise, I would say cost of living raise is 2 to 3%. So if your job gives you a 3% raise every year, in all actuality, you're just breaking even, and so this is a bad checkmate scenario. And with where oil is at right now, it's moving quickly. Let's see where it is. Look at some places. Gas just hit nearly $8 a gallon. Now, take this with a grain of salt because this is probably California or something like that, because they have huge taxes on top of it. Like I'm almost positive this is, wherever. Like this guy said, I just saw $2.98 in Ohio, $3.50 in Ohio. Yeah, that's probably more in line. I have no idea what gas is right here where I'm at. I don't fill up or go to the store or anything. But yeah, it's bad. And so let's look at the Qs. Let's see how the Qs earlier the Qs were dipping. And y'all know I told y'all I was in on this SQQQ. And before we get into some investments, just a quick reminder that I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is financial advice, and always do your own research. But so I closed this out this morning pre-market, okay, for about a 2% overall portfolio gain, which was actually pretty good. And now it just all depends, right? How much your total pie is, right? And I closed it, and I actually bought back at right here at this level. So I sold up here somewhere at like 73.50, and I bought back at like 71.50, I think. And I actually wouldn't mind DCNA more into it because I expect a sell-off into close today. And that's for stocks, that's for everything, because, it's very risky holding stocks over the weekend, right? Crypto is one thing. If you see a headline on Saturday, you can pull out your phone and sell Bitcoin, sell whatever, right? But with stocks, you're kind of checkmated, especially if you're retailing stuff, and you can't get in there in the pre-market always and sell in pre-market because structured hours and things like that. And so I expect to see some heavy cash taking by the end of the day. We'll see if I'm right. I could totally be wrong, but it would surprise me with the level of puts we have, the level of fear in the market, and just quite honestly, the lack of bullish catalyst in the market. Like there's no rate cut in sight. There's a conflict going on overseas with no end in sight. Inflation's going up. Unemployment's going up. I mean, I don't know. I don't mean to be a bear, but it's not the best data. Losing 90,000 jobs is not the best data. But the important thing is that being able to know how to make money both ways in the market. Don't just have to make money in green days. Let's go over there to Blofin. And for anyone just joining, like I said, Blofin is our stream sponsor, and I will I can put the QR code up if anyone's interested looking for a new exchange. What's cool about it is and we're getting into Bitcoin in a minute, but they've got all kinds of stocks and stuff, and it depends where you're located and stuff like that. But you know, they told me, Freeman, I see you trading the Qs. Got the Qs, you know, which is really cool. So they just added this, you know, like 2 days ago, right? But instead of having to do options or something like that, could simply just, you know, short, you know. So that's really cool. I'm going to talk to them, see if we can get deeper chart in here, like more chart, like more days, more data. But yeah, they've been super great, not only to work with, but also to utilize. I love the platform. I would never talk about something I don't actually believe in. So like I said, if you're looking for an exchange, there will be a link down below, or there's a QR code. But no pressure either way. And then on top of all this stuff we've got going on, right? Then this tweet comes out, and it's like, how bad at timing can you be? Like, I know this guy, you know, and like I said, I voted for him twice, and I don't disagree with everything, but it's the number one thing I have a problem with is when my money gets messed up, right? And that's really the only thing I vote for. I don't, you know, I'm a country boy. I like my Second Amendment and things like that. But overall, I'm not an extremely political guy. I'm not. You know, I want to vote how it's going to help my money. You know, I don't want free money from people. I don't want any of that, but I also don't want people to take my money or take more of it. I want to be able to make more money. And obviously, everyone votes in their own self-interest and things like that. But it's really been messing up my money. You know, I'm not going to lie. President Trump says there will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. Now, obviously, kind of too deep to turn around now. Like, say you get freaked out about the market and you pull out of Iran. Well, then, I mean, you already took out the top like 100 people in the country. Like, it's going to be a complete free for all, poor people. You know, I'd feel bad to, you know, pull out and right now versus just never going in the first place or whatever. But, you know, the Strait of Hormuz, as we talked about a couple days ago, that's driving oil prices up. And so basically said there will be no deal except unconditional surrender. After that, the selection of great and acceptable leaders, we and many of our wonderful and very brave allies and partners will work tirelessly to bring Iran back from the brink of destruction, making it economically bigger. Man, I think we should make us economically bigger. We just lost 90,000 jobs. So just my 2 cents, guys. I'll take that QR code down, but like I said, there's a link down below if anyone wants it. Let me close that out so I know what we talked about. And then, as if us going all over the place causing trouble, and maybe this will turn out to be good, right? Maybe it will. Maybe in 5 years we'll turn around and look, and BTC will be hundreds of thousands of dollars or something, and we'll realize everything's hunky dory. But let's listen to this, and then we're gonna get into Bitcoin and getting stuff like that a little bit more.
He's using it in his second, and then he quickly turned to Cuba. He said, without being asked, Cuba is going to fall pretty soon, by the way, but Cuba is going to fall. They want to make a deal so badly. And I asked, how so? He said, they want to make a deal, so I'm going to put Marco over there, and we'll see how that works.
Look at that guy on the roof. I wonder what that is, if that's some kind of Secret Service up there or something. Huh. Caught my eye.
But we're really focused on this one now, meaning Iran. We've got plenty of time on Cuba. Just more quickly, he's using it in his second.
A lot of stuff going down, guys. I don't see volatility falling anytime soon. Basically, the Qs haven't been able to get over this midpoint, which was the low of yesterday. So it's just continuing to make lower lows overall. And like I told y'all, some people agree, some people disagree. But here's the way I look at this. I basically see this like a rolling top. It's very proportional. Basically what it looks like a head and shoulders, basically the level to watch for this. And the reason I keep covering this, even if you're not interested in it, is this is the NASDAQ, and the Bitcoin trades like the NASDAQ. Sorry, but ever since this whole narrative went Armageddon mode, I'm no longer on board the Trump train. Yeah, I mean, I understand, totally understand. Hopefully it'll work out, right? It's all. Remember, like I've said before, guys, we're in this big world, and we're just the little ants, right? And we're just trying to get our crumbs to feed our families and make our little ant mounds. Make our little ant mounds good. But let's go. Where is this? Let's go back to BTC. So as of now, looks like a complete bull trap. And this is what happens. Let's look at CoinGlass. Liquidation levels. Oh, no, let me go to heat map. So we've taken out a lot of the liquidity underneath. That's the good news. We've got a lot of liquidity going up to 72K, 70.5K. If we go 3 days, yeah, it's all gone. So what I could see for crypto and what I would be open to seeing is a lot of cash taking in the stock market, hopefully. I'd love for it to hit this 598 or 600, like just a really, bad close, like down 1% in the last hour or something crazy, and move into cash for that. And then be able to see BTC, since it's low liquidity, since Wall Street's out of it, pump up over the weekend, right? And then we could reevaluate on Monday. And so, yeah, definitely no doubt about it. Bull trap for now, at least. In the little LTA or LTF low time frame, we have this trend line right here. We broke below that as well. So we not only broke below this long-term trend line, but we also broke below this upwards trend line. So we broke the upwards, momentum that we had with BTC. So if I was going to open up a position here, and I might if it does this while we're on stream, but if we get a little run up going into like 1 or 2 o'clock and we tag this or something, that's a good short position, in my opinion. Never financial advice. And so let's go take a look at some of the alts. A lot of them never even broke out the way BTC broke out. Yeah, Tau kind of looks like it actually broke down. I mean, so we had this drawn off of this first line, right? And so then popping down there, we'll leave both of them. I'll make this one smaller, and I'll make this one darker. And guys, whenever it comes to trend lines and stuff, you just got to do what you like. Or whenever it comes to any kind of annotation, anything like that, just do what you like. But to me, bigger and darker means more important, or outside kind of. And then And then lighter means, less important or something like that. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. So yeah, if Tau can bounce, it'll be okay. But the truth of the matter is everything's just moving with Bitcoin. Everything's just a BTC proxy right now. I don't really see anything moving on its own. Let's see. Stop using my cup. Well, we need some more dishes clean. I didn't have many coffee cup, babe. Just joking. Roshan crushed it. Thanks, brother. And Ro, you're welcome to come on the stream, man. Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Go crude. Beautiful Monday bull trap prediction. Markets give crude oil 94, 96 chance of hitting 100 by the end of March, indicating solid odds near term. Did you AI that? That looks like an AI response. I mean, I don't agree that. I mean, I don't disbelieve that you believe that, but looks. Let me see. Go crude, beautiful, hitting 100 by the end. Let's go look at Poly Market. What? There's no volume on that. Maybe we should look at, what do y'all think it'll be? Not climate, right? They wouldn't do that. What do y'all think it would be under? 9 mil volume on here. So let's look. So this is given 71% Poly Market with about 1 million in volume. So pretty good. 71% chance that we hit 100. And like I said, there's no volume in here, right? So nothing here. Yeah, I mean, it looks like we're going to hit 100. Let's see. Worst says he doesn't care about the oil price. He will cut rates. I mean, he might not care about the oil price, but he'll have to care about CPI, which is oil is a large factor in the CPI equation. Like, I mean, oil prices goes directly into that, and if it comes in, if inflation's over 3, but he's always had, Warsh has always had a really interesting philosophy. During the 2008 housing crisis, he left the Federal Reserve because of his views on what we should do. He didn't think we should increase our balance sheet. And his opinion still is that we should reduce our balance sheet. And I don't disagree with that the Fed shouldn't have a huge balance sheet. If we come over here and look at the Federal Reserve's balance sheet, you'll see how it's just ballooned over interval, not supporters. Okay. You'll see how it's just ballooned over the years, what's going on? Okay. So back in the 2008 housing crisis back here, okay, the Fed had an overall balance sheet. Let me clean this up. So back in the 2008 housing crisis, the Federal Reserve had a balance sheet of under $1 trillion. And he back then thought inflation was a larger risk than unemployment. And he actually left the Federal Reserve as a member for some time. Well, I guess, until now. And because of those disagreements, right? And so Warsh's overall opinion on the Federal Reserve is that they should not play such a pivotal role, that we should not be, waiting every month or every quarter for the CPI or for the FOMC meeting or anything like that. And so he actually still wants to reduce the balance sheet. But it's definitely a very large contradiction to say you want to cut rates and reduce the balance sheet. The only way you could do that is if there was like a huge demand for U.S. treasuries where you could dump U.S. treasuries and other people from other countries would be buying them up. but we're not seeing that. You know, typically in a time like now, we would see yields for the 20-year, the 30-year dropping like a rock because everyone's fleeing to them. So whenever you look at U.S. Treasuries, and we could take a look, let me pull it up. Okay. So whenever you take a look at treasuries, it's a little different than stocks or anything like that. The interest rate that the government has to pay on, say, a 30-year treasury or something is dependent on people buying and selling them like anything else. But when there's a lot of people buying them, that yield goes down. So if I'm offering 4% for the US Treasury and nobody's buying it, well, maybe I got to increase that a little bit to incentivize people. But if everybody's trying to buy it, well, heck, I don't need to offer all that. I can offer less and less. So when people are fleeing to it, you see the rate come down. And you could see that, yes, within the last few hours, it's actually dipped a pretty good amount, you know, about from 4.788 to 4.742. But still, if you just go back to Monday, we're still up. So there's not a huge crazy demand for them right now, you know, which is worrisome. And so for the Federal Reserve to be able to lower the balance sheet and cut rates, it's a huge contradiction. And so Kevin Warsh, if he gets confirmed, he still has to be confirmed by the Congress. If he's confirmed, you know, he has a big job on his hand. Bitcoin, what about it? What about it? Did something just happen? Oh, it's getting a little pop. I'll short right here. And, you know, it's not because I think Bitcoin's going to go down forever. Whenever I trade, guys, it's all about risk reward, in my opinion. And right here is an easy risk reward because we broke out of this, we broke down from this, and we broke down from this. So if we end up in this corner right here, you know, I have a very easy stop loss target. I'd probably set it a little bit over 70, like 70.3, right? And so that's a very low loss. Like I always say, I try to aim for a 10-to-1 risk reward ratio, meaning if I put $1,000 in, I'm willing to lose 100, right? But I want to be able to make 1,000. Or if I'm willing to lose 1,000, I want to make 10,000, something like that on average. And so something like this, you know, if you're right here and you go up, okay, let's say right there, you get stopped out 1.5%. So it's 10x leverage. Okay, that's 15% loss of the trade. But say it goes down here, that's on 10x. That's you know, what would that be? 75% of the bag. So, you know, it's all about risk reward, but I probably wouldn't close there. I'd probably set up like a trailing stop. Longs are piling in though. The funding rate just reset. I believe it's every 6 hours. And so it just reset. And so there's definitely more longs in the market right now. But it could be bull trap. But we just have to see. I mean, Bitcoin's not going to do anything on its own. We got to see what the Qs do and everything. And right now, the market looks pretty undecided still. This is yesterday's candle, right? Ended right in the middle. And then today's candle, right in the middle, you know? And this is an inverse. So if this goes down, that means the Qs or the NASDAQ's going up. This is the short version that I'm trading. Right here. If we go look at the US dollar, the Dixie's dropping. So that's probably why stocks are going up a little bit, because the strength of the US dollar is going down about 0.5% or so. Put that resistance in right there. But the dollar had been on a pretty good run after being hammered. That's actually a pretty long term, line. Might be forming for some kind of up. You know, I don't know. I heard people worried about the US dollar, worried about the dominance. You know, there's really only one thing that matters in terms of dominance, and it's just the honest truth. And it's this. It's really the only thing that matters. Military. Yeah.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
Though, guys, this is crazy. The White House posting edits like that, like, it's just absolutely mind-boggling to me. I almost can't believe it's real.
Wake up, Daddy Son.
Welcome home, son.
Strength and honor.
Strength and honor.
What will you do without freedom?
Mavericks inbound.
You can't.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of makes me a proud American. Kind of makes my blood, you know, probably red, white, and blue, but I don't necessarily agree with it. Iran rejects ceasefire notification, says ready for U.S. ground invasion. Yeah, you want to see the catalyst that drops this bad boy, that drops the market? Yeah, let them announce an invasion. And if it's going to be announced, it'll probably be announced today or on the weekend. You know how it was announced last week on Friday, or the first, you know, shots or whatever you want to call it, you know. But what's up, buddy? Welcome. What's your thoughts on Canton Network? Yeah, let's go look at it. Okay. So first and foremost, Canton is real world assets. It's a real world asset project. So when I was at ETH Denver, Canton had a booth, and I was able to talk to some of their lead engineers about nodes that they're operating, about what their vision is, who their partners is. And there's no doubt about it, there's a ton of big people backing them. From what they told me was that there was no VC allocation up front. You know, typically when you look at a chart like this that had launched, you know, it'd be down 90% before it, you know, did anything. And sure, it had a pretty big drop, 70%, but everything does. And this wasn't the full life of the chart. We can go over to coin market cap in a minute. And so I think it's legit. I do. They are new. It's a new project. If we just do some like basic TA, draw a trend line right there. And like I said, sometimes you can keep this stuff extremely simple, man. You don't have to overcomplicate TA if you don't know too much. Just get as many touch points as you can. Support. You see, it had support, bounced up, broke through. So that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean it's gonna, you know, fall down 80%. It doesn't mean that. It just means that the trend line's not intact, right? And so now, that's what I would have. And I would be looking at that, you know. That's basically how I would trade it. And if it came up here and it broke out and retested, then I'd take a long there. If it broke out here, retested, I would take a short here. But either way, the way I take them is with a very tight stop loss, right? On an edge. And so, yeah, I mean, there's definitely tons of funding. And then it's crazy when you look at all the, like all the money America gives all these countries and stuff, and how it comes back in through the military, and crazy. War says he will not include oil and the CPI. What? Let's look. Kevin Warsh, as a potential Fed chair, favors overlooking temporary oil price spikes when determining monetary policy, arguing that inflation is driven more by structural factors like money print and excessive government spending than volatile energy cost. He is likely to continue pushing for interest rate. Let's go look at some of these. Why Iran war oil price shock won't stop Trump's Fed from cutting interest rates. So when was this? Yesterday. Now crude was $77 there. And I think it's currently 95. So has caused oil prices to spike. I mean, the only reason I could see him trying to do this is because assuming it's going to be a short-term conflict, right? And that would be good. The central bank is like this. And have a new leader who sees inflation differently. He should be careful saying stuff like this, though, because what if he doesn't get confirmed? But I mean, obviously, Trump wouldn't put somebody in that that wasn't going to cut rates. Yeah. So every $10 a barrel adds 1/10 of a percentage to CPI. So if we were at 2.4% last CPI numbers, and oil is up $50, that'd be 2.9 CPI, right? Trump has insisted that rates should be 1% lower. I mean, yeah, man, we'll see if I'm right or not. But I think that we need a little correction across everything, stock market. And like I said before, I just think Bitcoin, I don't think it moved on its own. I think it just moves early. But I mean, it looks like we could use a little reset, a little profit taken. But I don't know. My first line of invalidation is this. Like to cut a short-term trade, like 613, 616. And then obviously daily and especially a weekly close above this 638 level. Are we going to have a retracement on Brent cash? What's Brent cash? Are you talking about like Brent oil? Let me know what you're talking about and we can look into it. I never heard of Brent cash if that's a crypto, but yeah, let me know what pair, if that's Brent over USD or if that's Brent cash or some kind of crypto or something. And we can look into it. But yeah, going back to CC. Okay. So sorry to get off track, buddy, for you earlier. I like it. I do like it. You know, it's a pretty high market cap relative to everything else, right? I think it's like 16th, 17th now. $6 billion market cap. So that puts it right there with Chainlink and Monero and, you know, I probably like Hyperliquid more, to be honest. Now, I need to do a little more research on it because one of the big problems I have or that we have in crypto, in my belief, is that we have a huge disconnect of vaporware. Like there's a company behind the asset, right? And then the token doesn't do anything. You know, it does absolutely nothing. And like Ondo, for instance, Ondo, it's a governance token. Okay, cool. Do I care? Probably not. But they're tokenizing all kinds of stocks. The Ondo Foundation is, right? But if you look at the token, it looks like they haven't tokenized anything, you know? And so I'm not saying that is Canton. I had a meeting with a project yesterday who's releasing a new layer 1. And I just wanted to find out, is the token needed? Like what is this, you know? And yes, Brent oil. Yeah, I mean, we looked at crude. Let's see. What's the ticker for that? What would be, let me look something up. Okay. So if we're just looking here, I mean, I definitely wouldn't short it. I mean, just because there's so much uncertainty. Basically, what I would be looking at for oil is what are the odds, not just these odds, right? Like there's a 70% chance that oil hits 100, 46% chance it hits, 110. But is when the conflict going to be over? Right? So when you come over here, the first time we have more than a coin flip, more than a 50% chance is May 31st. So that's 3 months from now. And so I think there's probably, you never know, but I think there's a high chance it continues going up. They're going to try to get it to lower. If we look, he did something, remove sanctions on Russia to provide, look, U.S. grants waiver to allow India to buy Russian oil. So like it's desperate to try to keep oil prices down, especially when they're doing that, removing sanctions. But then you see this post, Russia's providing Iran intelligence to target U.S. forces. So this is what worries me, is if this gets escalated. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt shrugs off reports that Russia's, okay, let's watch this. Because what if, Russia and China get involved and then we're talking about WW3, I pray God no, but, you never know.
But what I will tell you, John, we don't comment on intelligence reports that are leaked to the press, whether or not.
I'm sure this is something that does not please the president whatsoever. Has he spoken to Putin about it?
Well, look, I'll leave that to the president to answer himself. But what I will tell you, John, we don't comment on intelligence reports that are leaked to the press. Whether or not this happened, frankly, it does not really matter, because President Trump and the United States military are absolutely decimating the rogue Iranian terrorist regime. We are now on day 6 of Operation Epic Fury. The United States military has impressively established dominance and air superiority over the skies of Iran. We have sunk and destroyed more than 30 of their Navy ships. And of course, the goals of this operation have been laid out and very clear. Completely annihilate Iran's Navy, which again, we are well on our way to doing. Their Navy has now been deemed combat ineffective. Second,
I'm sure this is something that does not.
Sure sounds like they did. Why wouldn't they say it? She's beautiful, though, I'll just say. I do. I think she's pretty. But and she's really good at answering questions and stuff. But why wouldn't you just say no? There's been no truth of that, unless guilty or unless it is true, and so that could be the swan that we're all hoping don't come, but that might come. And I've been to Russia, I think 5 times. We got some beef. Curve Finance. Your pancake swap. Looks like you copied our code without asking. It is a violation of its license. Not only is it illegal, historically, it allowed to be unwise for those who did it and others in other regards. In any case, if you want to enjoy using Staple Swap without legal problems and to borrow some of our expertise to keep users safe, you can still contact us for licensing. Uh-oh. Got a little drama in the streets, crypto streets. Yes, ma'am. No problem. Any questions? Apologies if I've missed it, but have you charted BSV, BTC? No, I haven't. We can. And guys, that was a pretty good interview, if I must say myself, if y'all want to go look at it. I had somebody from the BSV community up, and he explained, name's Kurt. He explained basically the history of BTC and everything, and I ended up putting it was on live stream, and then we ended up putting it up as a YouTube video. Then there's the Anthony Pompliano interview that we did, and I've got a few interviews up there, so I plan on getting us more and more guests up on the stream and things like that. Do they even have BSV here? I don't know if this is, no. Dude, like the battle of trying to silence BSV is crazy. Like, no matter what you think about it, it's like, can I, but this is Trading View. Search on crypto tab. I've never had to go to another tab before. There we go. Yeah. Looks pretty good. Let's look up, like, see if it's an outlier or see if it's same. Like, let's say Solana and BTC. Up 12. Looks pretty bottom, to be honest. See if it can hold that. Yeah, the BSV conversation is interesting. Kind of looks like a little. If so, that would take it up to this level, at least from a TA perspective. Yeah, I mean, it looks interesting. We're keeping an eye on it for sure. Do you think Tau have a Zcash style run? If the narrative hits right and the demand for it comes, I think that with Tau, you know, my bet on Tau is that, you know, we have an oh crap moment in artificial intelligence, knowing that we have so many, you know, or actually not so many, I misspoke, so few very large companies controlling this very powerful thing, artificial intelligence, you know? And if we see that, then there will be demand. Now, on the flip side of it, a lot of people I know trade subnets, they do all that, but let me look up something real quick. But I don't know a lot of people that use the AI. And that's kind of the problem. Like, I think that it needs to be easier to use some of the subnets for Tau. You know, maybe an app, maybe something, actually using them. And I really haven't found any videos on it either. You know, I've seen videos on how to find subnets, how to invest in subnets, all that. But, you know, using it. So we need real use case, right? That's what I'm talking about for everything, whether it's Caspa, whether it's anything, Caspa, Tau, whatever. It needs actual use case, like actual usage, actual volume using, you know? And I'm sure that there is some people using it, right? But those are the people that are very deep into Tau, right? And so we need to get real adoption from outside of there. I still haven't bought my first subnet. I was looking at Shoots. That's probably the one I would go for right now. If there's any subnets you recommend, let me know. But yeah, I definitely think decentralized AI will have its run. I think it'll have a really big run. And because it's an actual use case, right? Like, I think we're at a time in crypto to where honestly 90% of these should go to zero. You know, and they probably will. You know, just like Eunice C. Leo, worst name in the world. Like, why does that take up $8 billion in liquidity? Right? Cardano. Like, I love Charles Hoskinson. I love the ADA community, but they really don't even have stable coins yet. Like, I just seen something. They tried to get USDC. You know, if you look at, let me pull this down. If you look at DeFi Llama, for instance, if you come look at DeFi Llama on chains and you look at what's actually being utilized, like, where's Cardano? Did I pass it? You know, there's 137 million in TVL. Yet it's a 10 billion market cap. So what is that, 1%? Someone fact check my math on that. But, you know, very low TVL. And so, but, you know, I wouldn't give up on it or anything like that, because Charles is continuing to work on it. Midnight came out, which is very much around privacy, and that'll help ADA adoption. And so, like, I do like ADA, so that's not one I would like completely write off or anything like that. But you know, a lot of these are just vaporware, like Polkadot. I don't think anybody's using this. I really don't. Dot 21 Shares has launched an ETF. I'm sure all the volume is shorting. I mean, what else would you do with it? You know, there's just a lot of vaporware, right? And so I think we're done with the time of speculation in crypto, and hopefully so. Hopefully we're done with the time of speculation, and we're at the time of, hey, how are we going to actually utilize this tech? How are we actually going to use it to change the world? How are we going to build payment rails on it? How are we going to build decentralized applications on it? Artificial intelligence. What's going to be the chain that does micro payments for AI agents? You know? And so that's what we need to look at. One BTC well taken out a BSV insurance poly away from. Wait, hold on. One BTC well out. One BTC well taken out a BSV insurance policy away from. Oh, okay. You mean like buying a big bag of it? Yeah, I mean, I got a bag. You know, it was a little hard to buy. I'll be honest. There was like an orange thing, and then there's Mexi and a few of those. Guys, if you're not familiar with BSV, as I really wasn't familiar. I mean, I knew the history of Bitcoin and the forks and Bitcoin Cash and then the fork to BSV, but I didn't really know. I knew about the big block, little block with BTC and all that, but I didn't know everything that Kurt told me in the interview. I learned a lot. I'm a lot more knowledgeable now than I was 3 days ago when we did the interview or whenever we did. So I definitely think you should go take a look at it. I think it would open your mind to a lot of things. And my overall opinion on BTC's kind of changed a lot. The more knowledgeable I became, you know, I have more worries about it. And I'm not saying that's necessarily good for crypto. I don't think it's going anywhere time soon, but they got to figure out how to get fees on the base layer one. I mean, that's pretty much it. But yeah, buddy, I mean, I agree, man. What about, you know, if it's programmable and stuff, you know, smart contracts and stuff, need to work on trying to get some stable coins on BSV. What do you think will make the crypto market stop hating on BSV? Hey, bro, weren't you hating on it the other day in my comments? Weren't you telling me, Freeman, you drank the Kool-Aid? And then you watched the interview, huh? And it was interesting, huh? Come on, man. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Man, I'm not like a BSV maxi or anything, but I think it's interesting. And I'm a student of the game. Like, I think if you ever, no matter what you're doing in life, if you're an engineer, if you're a burger flipper, whatever you do, a dad, a technical analysis guy, if you ever, and me as a crypto enthusiast, a crypto analyst, a trader, and all of that, if you ever get to the point where you think you know everything, you're washed. Like, a couple of things. One, you're going to fall behind because you're not going to learn new things. Two, you're going to get bored and you're going to get stagnant and stuff like that. So I love to have people come on and, you know, teach me stuff or be able to have interesting conversations, you know, and some challenging questions too. Like, if you watch the interview, there were some things I asked Kurt about that, I mean, it's all very respectful and stuff, but ever looked into Claude AI? Are you talking about like the Claude bot thing, or is that a crypto? You think BTC could drop to 50? Yeah. Yeah, I do. I broke this down yesterday, but we'll break it down again. It's all good. I'm happy to have new people joining us in the Finance Freeman family, guys. While we're here and while you're new to joining the Finance Freeman family, Do me a favor. If you're over on YouTube, get your hands, pull this thing out and click the like button. Okay. And then if you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button. And if you're over on X, retweet the space, man. Retweet it. And if you're looking for an exchange, the official exchange and partner of Finance Freeman Livestream is Blofin. And that's where I look at all these trades, guys. So feel free to join if you are looking for one. What was this? Yeah, so BTC. And, you know, one thing I thought that was interesting, Kurt's response when he was talking about BTC. And I was like, wait, when you're talking about BTC, what are you referring to? And he meant more the application of it, you know, the framework of it, you know, how Digi and BTC and Bitcoin Cash and BSV and all of those he would consider Bitcoin, right? They're not the Bitcoin that, you know, has the ETF and all that. But, okay, could it drop to 53? Maybe. So let's go through some data. All right. Let me clear out all this, make it look pretty. So I'll show you a couple things. So if y'all weren't following me, whenever BTC was like 100,000 up here, I made a post about it going lower and why I thought it would go lower. The first targets for me were like 58K, and we actually had an order at 58.1K. I was going to buy Bitcoin, put it on a wallet, leave it for my kids and forget about it. And I got front ran. I mean, we hit like 60, right? So I got front ran. But anywho, so the bottom of last cycle was 15.8, 16K. Okay, so let's just say 16K. All right. And let's draw a fib up here. Okay. And so you can see right here, we have one data point of a 786 fib level being about 40K. Okay, let's call it that. Let's not get too penny pinching, 39 point. So let's take that. Boy, I've been trading this whole range. And I post all those in the Discord, by the way, guys. But then just from like a technical analysis standpoint in here, if you wanted to consider this a bull flag, I mean a bear flag, excuse me. Come up here where it's easier to measure, and you take a measurement of the pole, and then you take it to the breakout point. Pretty dang close to the 786 fib level. Almost like magic. Call me David Blaine. Now, we'll see if it happens. I don't know if I can put the rabbit back in the hat or not. I bought some. Oh, man. Full circle. Full circle. I love it. Damn new Bitcoiners in the wild. Hyper Bitcoin is a MNI is a stable coin on BSV. Oh, really? Cool. How much liquidity does it have? What's the like market cap? How much that's cool. Guys, I am sleepy. Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for joining. If you want us to look at oil tomorrow, come back. And I'm actually am live streaming this Saturday and Sunday. And I'll live stream Monday. And after that, I'm taking my family on a little vacation. So, but I will be here over the weekend. So if you're interested, come back. And I'm more than happy to look at whatever you want, ma'am. All I want is 21-cent Casper. Man, we had it before, didn't we? Almost. Or you want it again? No, I'm just joking. Yeah, we had like what, a little over 20 cents. You know, Kurt actually said he liked Caspa. And so I had a breakdown about Caspa recently. So where's it at right now? About 3 cents. So I had a tweet about it. Let me find it. Man, I tweet too dang much. Not really. I try to keep people informed and stuff. I don't crap post like I used to, though. I used to post funny stuff, and now I don't really do that. So I made this post. Is Caspa's low already in? So, and I could break this TA down. It's a little hard on Blofin because, like I said, the chart don't go back forever. But if I come over here, let's do this one. Oh, perfect. This is actually the one I charted. Okay. So if you take a look at it, I drew the fib from this low right here, not the beginning of the chart because it went from like 0.004 up. So I marked it from here. Okay. And so then if you draw fib, and this is on logarithmic, and just for the sake of explaining it, just you could say logarithmic is better for longer term and also volatile assets. Basically any chart, unless you're doing like a 2-minute chart, should be on logarithmic for the most part. At least that's how I chart things. And just find out whatever works for you. Try out things. And when you're doing technical analysis, backtrack it. Don't open up your fibs for the first time and your charts and try to do it on a live chart. Like then you're kind of playing with fire. What you should do is go back on cryptos. Go back to the life of something BTC when it first started. Go look at oil. Go look at anything. Because technical analysis is all about human psychology, and it doesn't change. It doesn't matter if you're trading, gold, if you're trading, crap coin, if you're trading Bitcoin, it doesn't matter. At least not in my opinion. Now some are more volatile. Meme coins can get a little hard because, one tweet from somebody could send it, or Dev could rug it or something like that, right? So obviously that's a little different. But if you're looking at like a true chart, it's really not that big of a difference. And so this trend line is from before the all-time high coming down. And then we also have this channel right here. And this wick that we got right here, if you could see that, it tagged the 886 fib level as I have it drawn perfectly, which is about 2.4, 2.5 cents. And even right now, CAS is holding up pretty good, 3 cents relative to what BTC's done, right? And so, yeah, I could see something like my little squiggly here, maybe a double bottom. Obviously, this is the first sign that I want to see break out. But yeah, so I put a hit the 886 fib level, following the channel, and following the long-term trend line pre all-time high. But then I seen again, I bought all the way up and all the way down, right? So it's not like I bought a lot higher than this. So it's not something that's that I'm hurting on. Man, what if there's a fleeing to crypto because of that? Currencies around the world debasing. Interesting thought. Okay. Yeah, so go check out this interview, guys. If y'all haven't seen this, the Anthony Pompliano interview was good. What was this? That was me making something about oil. That was a Caspa video. This was Algorand talking to them. But here was guys for my meme coin guys. I know not everybody's into meme coins, but I like them. I like community coins. But I really haven't been trading any meme coins recently. I haven't been supporting any meme coins because it's just like, it seems like everything devs, rugging something, and it's just, not something I've been focused on. But this project reached out to me, and full disclosure, I partnered with them long-term and everything. But, they CTO'd this project in August. And like, they're still here, and the Telegram's extremely active, and it's got a lot of lore. And I made a video about it earlier. And so it's this, they've got over 40% of the supply locked up by the community. They have their own locker. Massive treasury. It's like 3.5% of the supply. They host daily VCs in the Telegram, daily spaces. I'm actually doing a space with them this afternoon. I'm trying to get them to once a week do like a big space and stuff to let people know about it. But there's and here's the video, and I won't spend too much time on it, guys. Like, wouldn't mind y'all going to watch it. But so you could see here this, and I explain it in this video, that this right here is everyone locking their tokens in that locker, right? And then they have the treasury right there, and they've ran a project before, a CTO before, and it went to like something crazy, like 500 and something mil over on ETH. And but what caught my attention about them is they've been here for 6 months. They CTO'd it when Solana was 240. Now Solana's 80. Like, that's what I want to see. Like, I want to see that you're sitting here committed and building while the entire market's down. You know, I don't want to see that you just launched 2 weeks ago when we got a green candle. You know what I mean? That's not what I want to see. I don't care about that. And so being able to see, you know, things like that. And here's the lore behind it I thought was pretty interesting. There's, from March 15, 2014, this was an OG crypto guy, okay? And like a Bitcoin whale. And he hasn't tweeted since like 2014. It's very interesting. And so obviously he probably has like a ton of BTC that he sold and probably has his own, you know, island somewhere or something. But he said evolution, Aircoin, Fartcoin, Altcoin. I don't know what Altcoin is, but I know what Fartcoin is. You know, it hit like 1 point something bill. And I showed that in this thing too. But yeah, you know, it's a very strong community. You know, I don't ever recommend anyone buying, selling anything, but I do recommend joining the Telegram. Just, there's nothing to lose joining the Telegram, trying to find a cool community and stuff. I got that video up on my page if anyone's interested, but I seen that whenever I was showing these other videos, and I thought it would be, man, AI is crazy though, guys. You know, my business expenses right now are probably like $4,500 a month, like to produce all the content and everything. And it used to be more. And but with AI, I've been able to make all my own thumbnails very easily. And so AI is coming for a lot, guys. You know, and this is just in the art world, I guess you could call it, or creative world, you know. And I think the job numbers that we got today is a sign, some way of that, you know, that AI is, you know, causing a lot of job losses. If we go look at the block layoffs, and I made an article about this actually, you know, they fired 4,000 people. Now, I looked into it a little bit more. He also like way overhired after that illness we had a few years ago. And so whatever, right? And also I think AI is a good excuse for struggling companies to lay off, because if you're a company that's in trouble and you do a mass layoff in the name of I'm in trouble and I can't run my company, or my company is not profitable, well, that kind of looks bad, right? And your stock might get sold off and people might lose confidence. But if you now have an excuse in the name of efficiency, and look, all these other companies are doing it, and then they see Block, the stock went from like $40 to $60 overnight when he announced this layoff, right? So it's going to create a lot of copycats, and they're going to do the same thing. And so yeah, just with my, you know, content creation and everything, it's been able to save me, you know, a substantial amount of money, you know, to produce content and stuff. A lot of people don't understand how expensive it can get if you want to produce high quality content, and a lot of it. I've been watching Monad, which came onto the scene at the end of this cycle. If it can get back into all-time highs, 1K possibly turn into K. Yeah, let's look at it. I don't know, man. I didn't get a good feel from the lead dude. I didn't meet him. But in some of the interviews, are you sure about that, bro? What was the all-time high? Is this wrong? How high was it before this? Here it's showing the all-time high is less than 5 cents. Beeps, let me know what you're talking about, bro, because I don't see that. But yeah, I mean, this isn't one that I would write off by no means. Because it's probably heavily VC backed, right? And so you get launched, you're VC backed, they dump it. Now this is what I would be looking at though. So if we look here, currently about 50% of the supply is unlocked. But getting to the end of this year, there's going to start being unlocks. And if we fast forward another year, so we're adding about 7% a year to it, which I think is about 14% inflation. Let me do my math real quick. Yeah, 14% inflation, like a human calculator. I'm just joking. You know, so let's fast forward. So from 27 to 28, which is 2 years. Yeah. Well, no, that's 1 year. Okay. So yeah, just keep in mind that it's about 14, 15%, 14 exactly percent inflation a year, which is dilution, which is heavier than Solana. Solana's 8%. Now, Solana is, you know, inflationary forever, right? There's no cap. This shows there is a cap, but there's only 10% of the coins currently in circulation. So you've got an actual real market cap of 233 and you have an FDV of 215, 2.15, right? And so just be cautious of that. You know, something that's a new chain, you know, a new ecosystem like this, I'll personally, it may be great, right? But I'll wait because it takes time to get adoption. It takes time to have developers and all of that come use your chain, right? And for those 2 years that it's taking to get that adoption, the token's just being diluted, right? Kind of like Caspa, like in a good example. Caspa's 97% mined now, right? And they're just now about to have like a smart contract capability, right? And so had you been thinking in hindsight about that, then you could have waited until right before they had that capability, and then you'd be buying the absolute lows potentially, assuming it'll go up, right? Never financial advice. And so, yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. There's a lot of fancy white papers out there. There's a lot of all that. We just got to be careful between the vaporware. But I can do some deeper look on Monad this weekend and kind of let you know next week what I think. And the same with Canton. Find out what I think I made a mistake. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's about 75% down if I'm looking at that. Where can I look at it? Where can I look at MNI market cap chart? So it's a stable coin, so it should be $1, but the market cap of it is what's cool. Because like if you look at USDC market cap, it's all-time highs. What's Circle doing? Anybody that's been watching the stream from the beginning, they know that I was buying Circle like a month ago at $60. It ended up hitting less than that. It hit like 50, but I think it was 100. I haven't looked today. 102. And it's a stock, right? For it to make that kind of move. Now, Circle is the company that's behind USDC. Okay. And so there's a lot of reasons to be bullish on it. And this thing's holding up very well, despite having a huge run up and everything. But if we were looking at the full chart from this, what you would see is you would see an IPO at $31. Let me do this because it doesn't. They just listed this when I asked them. So shout out to them. That's what's really cool about them. They're really big into customer service. So if you're using Blofin and you want, a stock, a crypto, just talk to them and they'll try his best to make it work. But it'd look like this. Whoosh. Basically, okay? So this thing did crazy numbers. It went from 31 up to 300. And these fibs, I don't have my fibs set up right. But I think if I had everything set up right, it hit the 786 fib level pretty perfectly. We can look. Dang, I didn't think it went that low. I didn't remember it going that low. Pretty crazy. But that thing's, the big thing I was looking at was that 786 fib level or all of this back here. But it made it past it. Wouldn't mind seeing this take off. But yeah, Circle's a huge company. They're gonna be a huge company. I think they're currently like 20 bill market cap. Nvidia's 4.5 trillion. Oh, okay. MD is a US-backed stable coin designed to bring innovation for payments. Yeah, definitely got a little adoption. 100 mil. How much of that's on? Because it says ETH, everything. How much is that BSV? Because BSV is like what, 300 and something market cap. I wonder what the TVL is on that. On MNI, on BSV. Let's go check X. See what X. Oh yeah, there's rumors that BlackRock, like private credit concerns, that they were halting withdrawals or something like that. Kind of crazy. Something like that. Don't take what I just said as word. But there was something. BlackRock just blocked investors from pulling out their own money. The world's largest asset manager is telling people, no, you can't have your cash back. It's never happened before. BlackRock's $26 billion private credit fund got hit with a $1.2 billion withdrawal request. So that's only 5%, right? 1.2, 5% would be 1.3 of 26. So it's less than 5%. Well, dude, that don't make no sense. This dude don't even know math. I'm not stupid, am I? 10% would be 2.6 billion. And this guy said 10. BlackRock said no, capped it at 5. Bro, what's this dude's math talking about? 5% paid out 620. This is 5% of this. So I get that. But this is 5% of that. So I don't get where this 9.3 came from. talk about a black swan, baby. A BlackRock goes under. There is a lot of worries about private credit. What the hell? Don't be showing that on my live stream. The market has never experienced anything like this. The S&P's trading range in the first 41 trading days is just 2.7%. The narrowest for this period going back. Wow. Yeah, it's coiling for sure. Well, I don't think it's A. Maybe C. I don't know. Let's go back and look at my trades. I don't know. Sorry, I'm sure that's annoying whistling into that. My bad. Let's look at the Qs. 603, so it's about the same as it was earlier. I definitely want to I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I have to think about it. So yeah, like I told y'all, I sold this earlier for like 1,200 in profit. Let me look at I forget what my average buyback was. I think it was 71 something. 71.53. 500 shares, 71.53. I like this more than options just because it's just a preference thing. But with options, man, sometimes I'm off. Like I'm normally pretty good with direction, but I might be a week off. I might be 2 weeks off. And with options, you got to know the Greeks, the theta, the delta, you know. I do trade options a little bit, but I'd much rather just go short. Like this is an inverse of the Qs essentially. So the NASDAQ, and it's a triple leverage. So, but its chart looks pretty good to me. So here's kind of the direction. I don't think the stock market's going to want to hold a lot of longs over the weekend. I really don't. I couldn't see them. I couldn't see Wall Street wanting to hold a whole bunch of longs, or maybe Wall Street would. They're hedged, you know. That's what a lot of people's doing, I think. You see put volume is very high right now, meaning people betting on it to go down. I think that's a hedge. I think that's what people are doing. But to me, I'm not holding any longs going into this weekend. Not in the stock market. I mean, I'm not selling my spot crypto, but but yeah, this just looks too proportional. I mean, it is what it is. Let me draw this all the way down to get a technical target. Okay. So the technical target would be there. So it's the same thing as a head and shoulders. On a head and shoulders, take the neckline and you measure the head and you move that down. A rolling top's the same thing, if that's what this ends up being. You know, we're knowing hindsight. But But yeah, it's the same thing basically. So you would find your neckline, which I'm calling it. I guess you could call it this. I guess you could call it this, but I'd call it this line right here, the 592. So you just measure. And I'm not doing the dome. The dome's just to show the curvature and how it's even and everything. But this up here. So then you move that down to the breakout point. And that's the target. And just out of curiosity, so July 25th. Okay, so it's about 92 bucks. Remember, this is an inverse and it's leverage. So if it hit that target, the target for this would be about a 28% pump. That'd be okay. Yeah, we'll see. Let's go back over to X, see what they're. Man, this community is vibrant. Yeah, go check out that video, guys. Join the Telegram if y'all want. They're really good guys. Oh gosh, U.S. recession. This guy's a cool guy. I met him at ETH Denver. He's like 7 foot tall. Good, not really 7 foot tall, but he's tall, a lot taller than me. I'm 5'10". Someone called me a short king. 82nd Airborne preparing to deploy to the Middle East to secure the Strait of Hormuz. Dang, this is getting a lot of attention. Okay, the same guy telling people to go mine whatever this thing is the same guy that gets liquidated constantly for like hundreds of millions. Probably would not listen to him. I wouldn't listen to anybody. I think you should always do your own research. Oil at 94 bucks. This dude's funny. He's one of the funniest. Like, you know, I could never do that. I could never do that. Make that kind of like goofy content, you know. It's just, I'm a goofy guy, but it's just not me, you know. I wouldn't want my kids to look at me and see that. But he's very funny. He seems like a good guy. Do you hold any physical metals? Nah, man. I got some jewelry. That's about it. I got some watches. I got a couple necklaces, and that's about it. Man, the problem with physical metals is, okay, let's go over the positives of physical metals. Okay. Physical metals actually have use case in real life. Okay. It's conductive, corrosion resistant, will be needed for AI data centers and, you know, XYZ, right? Gold or jewelry, whatever. So it has real life use cases in what is, you know, real applications, tech applications, and also luxury applications. So that's the positive of it. The negative of it is that if you are holding it in a time, like when silver ran up so high, like here, if you are holding it in a time back here, if you're holding it because you think the end of the world or something, then fine. Or if you're going to change it, you know, and use it, you know, actually utilize it, you know, or you think, you know, the world's fallen and we're about to, you know, money's going to be worthless, the internet's going to be cut off, all that, then sure, doomsday prep. But when silver ran up here, like I watched countless videos of people going to try to sell silver, and the places were like, hey, we're not buying silver. Like there was bullion stores online that were like, hey, we're just not buying it right now, because it was, I think, a short squeeze. I think there was a lot of demand for it, but you couldn't get the price that it truly was. And I don't blame them. Like, am I going to want to buy this shiny rock and then have to hold on to it and then drive down the road tomorrow and then melt it when the price moved 10% in a day? No, I wouldn't want to. Versus if I was trading it, like, they have it on Blofin. They have metals on Blofin. Then I get exactly what I want for it. I always forget. That's not it. I thought I had it pulled up actually. But does that make sense? Let's see. XAG, that's right. Dang it. Yeah. So like if I opened up along here, I'll set my take profit right here. I could have got that. If you walked into a pawn shop, right here, and when that man woke up this morning, it was 105. You think he's going to hand you $120 for it? And then when you're walking out the pawn shop and you're all happy and he looks and it drops, he's going to start chasing you. Hey, man, I want a refund. So, doomsday prepping, you think like that. Cool. Hold it, But as a trade, I just buy it on paper, derivatives or, stock market and stuff. And that's the only reason the price did this. Do you think that the price went up? Okay, maybe we could argue the price went up because people were standing in line for what? 524 hours straight. They were standing in line buying. But do you think within the matter of 2 hours, people were standing in line and sold 35% of all global silver? No. The only reason it went up so high and went down so quick is because of the derivatives market. Same thing with like BTC and everything. Everything's a derivatives market nowadays. So that's kind of my take on physical metals. I got some jewelry, but it's not investments, Even though I did buy this chain from a guy I used to work with, and I bought it at spot price at the time. And I've done that before too. I had another buddy. I bought my dad a necklace one time, a flat curb, which is kind of like a Cuban, but it's not a Cuban. It's like a kind of knockoff Cuban, I guess you'd call it. It's cheaper. But I bought one for my pops at regular, melt price or spot price. Yes, Freeman, stop using my bestie's cut. What's up, Empress? Miss Empress, almost called her by her real name. What's up? I hope you are doing great. I was on Leslie's podcast recently. Oh, she got me pinned. She got the big dog pinned.
Oh, heck no. Nope. Okay, so your brand, it mixes education, humor, a bit of that degen energy that.
How's your boy look, boy? In a suit or in a little sports jacket? But yeah, she has a pretty good show. The Trump administration announces $20 billion reinsurance program for oil tankers and other vessels moving through the strait. Okay, don't look like anybody cares. There's only so much governments can step in and do to try to stop the free market, in my opinion. You know? Man, Peter Schiff stopped talking about gold all of a sudden. Yeah, he stopped talking about gold, started talking bad about everything else. Because he knows the price didn't go up because of people spot buying. Like a lot of people were. And like, I don't think it's bad. You know, like if gold dropped, like I wouldn't pay 5,000 an ounce probably, but just because if I was going to do that, I would do it on a derivatives market. But, you know, if it dropped down, I had to, you know, buy a few ounces, throw them in the safe, leave them there for, you know, long term is different, right? If you're just as an inflation hedge, sure, you can buy physical metals, you know, or I would buy physical metals as an inflation hedge. But you know, if it's like a trade, like, oh yeah, gold's about to go crazy, it's like, yeah, good luck selling it for spot. Volatility, the VIX going up, 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 up. Thanks for watching. Oh, that's that video. Yeah, guys, go check out that video if you like meme coins and stuff. It's pretty cool. But basically, I'm watching the Qs going into close. Let's come look at them on Blofin. So 603 on the Qs. I'm expecting a sell-off into close. We'll see if I'm right or not. We can talk about it tomorrow. We can talk about it Monday. And BTC trades just like the NASDAQ. So whatever the Qs do, BTC and crypto is most likely going to do. And so that's basically what I'm watching for. And we'll be deciding what to do with that. Like I said before, guys, this is the only exchange that I trade on, like this kind of trading. This is Blofin. I've used them for about a year, a little over a year now. And then they sponsored the live stream. And so that's what I used to do on my trading. If you happen to be looking for a new exchange, I totally recommend them. And there's a QR code you could always use if you were interested. No pressure and definitely not financial advice. I like to be goofy sometimes. What's this? Our market's about to tank. Is a recession incoming? I mean, you know, so basically, let's go over what we talked about today. So we had job data come in this morning, job information come in. And the job information, we were expecting to have 58,000 jobs created, which is down almost 50% from what we got last report, which was about 112,000. Instead of hitting 58K jobs, we had negative 90K jobs. Huge shock. At the same time, oil is exploding through the roof in price. Okay. So with oil going up, that creates inflation to go up. Okay. Now, as Blackson mentioned, now Kevin Warsh is saying that maybe the new Fed chair that'll be coming in mid-May, that maybe we don't use, you know, oil in the CPI report, which is kind of crazy to think about, but because oil price is a large factor into consumer price index, or the number one inflation measure that the Federal Reserve uses. And so the Fed's in a little bit of a checkmate on what's going to happen with interest rates. And so basically, we're definitely not getting a rate cut, in my opinion, until June at the earliest, at the absolute earliest. Now, I would think he will be very pressured into cutting rates his first meeting, right, being appointed by the president. But we've got oil here. 69% chance it hits 100, 63% chance it hits 105, and over a 50% chance it hits 110. Okay? That's going to affect everything. We're already in tight liquidity conditions. So I'm watching the Qs, which is the NASDAQ. I'm watching BTC. And altcoins will probably just follow suit with all of that, guys. But as always, thank you for joining. We will be back tomorrow, probably, normal time, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, live stream for a couple hours. Then I'll see you Sunday and Monday as well. And then after that, your boy is going on a little vacation. I'm taking my parents with us, taking my family, and my dad just retired. So I'm taking them with us as a little vacation gift. But I'm hooking them into babysitting tonight. So, gotcha. No, I'm just joking. But all right, guys, as always, I love you. Subscribe on YouTube if you don't already. Click the thumbs up to let people know you like it. And retweet the stream. People can watch it later over on X and follow me there. I love you. See you tomorrow, guys.